Welcome into the 39th episode of the Save Saturdays podcast. We have another full show for you guys this week, and we're up in the graphics game. We got joining me, your usual co-host, Wilson, a reason and the red cast on his hand. Big Bence, who's preparing his segment as we speak, and the mastermind behind Quantum Cherries, Ethan Cherry. How are we doing tonight, guys?
Fantastic, Ethan. Thanks for having us on the show.
Absolutely. Always happy to be on. Always excited to be on. So,
indeed,
ready for another good one.
Great to be back.
I love the thanks to me for letting you guys on the show that you're a part of. Like, it's not the Ethan Dietrich show; it's the Save Saturdays podcast.
Well, you do let us on. You let us on the show. Otherwise, we'd all just be backstage right now. You have the ability to kick us all off at any moment.
Well, you have the password to this account, so you could get on anytime. Well, we got a packed show. We're getting some more developments in the Nebraska landscape. So interesting. We'll talk about those, and that's kind of where we'll start it off. I guess we'll go ahead and talk about the three names that have emerged reportedly. From Bruce Feldman, I believe, is the one who first reported this. Three coaches that Nebraska is reportedly high on. I'm going to throw up the resumes. You guys are going to tell me A, B, or C which coach you're wanting at Nebraska as Milo walks in the door here. And I want rationale, all right? So here we're going to go ahead and put it up there. Bang. You got A, B, C with their career college football records and accomplishments. We'll go to you.
You know, I'm to be honest, Ethan, I'm just trying to figure out which one is Matt Campbell. It's not the guy on the far right. That dude does not have a lot of experience. I'm guessing that's the dude in Kansas. What's his Leopold? Guy
Lance Leipold.
What?
Lance Leipold.
Leipold, yes. Guy in the middle. 42 and 43. 80 and 49 over here. 1 New Year's 6. I think the guy in the middle is Matt Campbell. I'm going to go B, Matt Campbell.
Are you that determined? Look at just the resume. Take the name out of it. What are you thinking just off of the straight resume?
I mean, straight resume, I'm looking here. I got division titles 3-2. 1 coaches in the Big 12. 1's in a no-name fairy tale conference. 42 and 43. The guy, if that is, in fact, Matt Campbell, which I think it is. It looks like my boy Matt. His nice jawline there. I can kind of see it. You know, he's been coaching at Iowa State, had some time at Toledo. He's been coaching in tough games, you know. He's sub 500, it looks like, but, you know, it's better than going to Cincinnati and playing a bunch of no-ones. The 1 New Year's 6 bowl, that intrigued me. I like that, but I'm still going with B.
B with a losing record all time, 42 and 43.
Yes, that's true.
we'll let you stew on that one a little bit, and we'll go down to Ethan Cherry. Cherry, you liking any of these guys more than the others?
All right, so I think person A is Bill O'Brien. I believe that was the third candidate, which he obviously has the best blind resume here, but I do not want Bill O'Brien. So I'm going with B. Right with B, Matt Campbell.
Oh, even again, same question to you. Even though he has a losing record as a college football coach,
I mean, look at that bowl record. It's amazing.
Oh no! I just looked it up. We're stupid.
Ryan, who you got?
So I'm gonna have to disagree with Will and Cherry on this one.
I agree.
I like Coach A. I like his experience. I like his division titles. He's got experience with bowl record. It looks like 4-4, so it looks like he's played some tough teams. And a New York 6 win, but I'm not going to go with Coach A. I'm not even going to talk about Coach B. I'm looking at Coach C. It looks like a young coach. He's got a winning record, and I think there's a lot of room and potential for this coach to succeed, and I think it might be in Nebraska. So give me Coach C.
It's a great point from Coach C.
You know what? If I can make another point, Ethan, I'd like to change my answer to Coach A.
No.
That New Year's Six
I
bowl.
choose Bill
1-0
O'Brien.
in New Year's Six. I didn't see that the first time.
All right. So Cherry, Will at Coach B, Ryan's on Coach C. Of these three, what I was surprised by, and this is a question I'm going to ask you guys now, is do any of these resumes, taking the name away from them, do they give you guys hope that that's somebody who can turn around Nebraska?
Absolutely. I think Coach A can do that. He's won some bowl games. Even Coach B, division titles. Nebraska hasn't seen that in a while. So, they know how to win. Looks like they have a winning culture. They win bowl games. They win the division. Coach A wins the New Year's Six Bowl. Coach C, 15-9. I need more than 16 games. Scott Frost had more than 16 games coached before he came to Nebraska. I need to see. What was that?
That's 24 games.
Oh, 15. I thought it was 6 for a second. 24 games. I need more than that. I need more experience. The dude clearly has not been really gone through it. He hasn't seen adversity. He hasn't really stuck with a team long enough to have multiple recruiting classes. So A or B, both good options, but A is obviously the better one.
Start them fresh. That's what I say.
Since I know who all these guys are, that was my main takeaway when I was creating this graphic was, these guys, they don't have as good a resumes as I thought when you just look at it for what it is. It's not like the Coach A is not as good as you would think. Coach C does not have as much experience as you would think. And Coach B, you strip away all of his Division III wins because he's actually got a much better career record than that. I took away all of his wins at Wisconsin Whitewater and all of his national championships. And he's a sub-500 coach at the Division I level. And I think that's a non-starter for a lot of Nebraska fans, yet he's one of the hottest names because of connections he has to Nebraska and because what he's doing at the start of this year. So I'll go ahead and reveal it to you guys. We have Matt Campbell, Lance Leipold, and Bill O'Brien. Coach C is actually one of the older coaches, even though Ryan thought he was young, because he was only at Penn State for 2 years. So that takes away a lot of his experience.
I rescind my choice of Coach C.
No bowl record because Penn State was barred from playing in the postseason due to the Jerry Sandusky issues. So it's crazy how these resumes change when you strip away the face. Anyone want to react to learning the correct? Will already figured it out. So
obviously, Coach A. I'm going Maddie. I was surprised that Leopold. That it was B. Coach C. Bill O'Brien, 15-9. After his stint in the NFL, get him out of here.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't see that coming. I don't know. I like where Kansas is heading though, and I think Lance would actually be a really good coach at just up north in Nebraska.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised, especially with the Bill O'Brien one. But I think maybe Campbell can make us a little bit better, but I don't think any of these coaches are going to bring us to a elite level program.
What does that coach need to have, Terry? What do you think it needs to look like for Nebraska to get back to where it was?
Well, I think to get back to where it was, are we talking about in the 90s and 2000s?
I'm talking Bo Pelini, dude.
If we're talking Bo Pelini, I mean, maybe Matt Campbell could have 1 or 2 10-win seasons. Bo Pelini was consistently, it's going to take Saban if we want consistent 10-win seasons here at Nebraska.
Yeah, I feel like there's a little bit of hopelessness out in the fan base right now, and I can understand that. Fun fact, in this Bill O'Brien picture, he's actually pointing out Tom Brady. I had to cut Tom Brady out, or else Will would have picked option D, who was not actually a coach. And he would have gone with Tom Brady. That's gonna do it for our blind resumes. Let's talk a little bit more now that we know that Urban Meyer is or isn't really getting talked to by Nebraska. Some people say there is interest. Some people say there's not interest. What does Urban Meyer do for you guys? Does that move the needle?
I think he's won, and I would say he's got a better resume than those three guys. He's proven he can win in college football at least. He's won national championships. None of those guys have.
Well, what are your thoughts on Urban Meyer?
I think Milo had some pretty strong opinions on Urban Meyer, but he left, so I'll go, I guess. It's a fact that he's won. I mean, he's a college football legend, whether you like him or not. The dude's won everywhere he's gone. But when you're building a program like Nebraska from the ground up, especially having a guy like Scott Frost, who we know has had the scandals, they're not public yet, but there's rumors, there's stories. After what Urban just went through, bringing a guy like Urban in, yeah, he's going to win, but he's just going to bring more trouble. And that's just when you're building a program up like Nebraska, you need to build it honestly. You need to build it with a good foundation, with a good coach that's going to come in and not go out partying with cheerleaders every night, which Urban Meyer and Scott Frost have that in common. So, if you want to win at all costs, sure, go with Urban Meyer. He definitely would win, and he probably would win at Nebraska. But it's like live golf. Are you going to take the dirty money?
If he wins, he can party with all the cheerleaders he wants.
Hey,
Ryan, what do you think of that?
About Myers?
Urban Meyer, yeah. What do you think about Urban Meyer? What do you think about Cherry saying morality doesn't matter if you're winning?
Yeah, to start, Cherry, you're wrong. Morality is crucial. It's important. It builds your integrity. You want a strong integrity to coach a great football team, and at Nebraska, you need that good integrity and morality. So, and I don't think Urban Meyer has that. And I don't know. All the talk about Urban Meyer coming to Nebraska, sure, it was exciting. It was fun for the fans, but it's not. It's not going to matter. It might, but I don't think it will. I think his time's passed in college football. I think he's just going to stick with broadcasting. I don't know. That's just my opinion. But I'm glad Urban Meyer's out of the picture. But yeah, we just need to bring back good coaching morality.
Ethan, if I could have one more thing there.
Yeah.
I'd also like to say that on to what Ryan said. I think we're fools at Nebraska if we think that Urban Meyer is going to come and stay at Nebraska. The guy just got fired in Jacksonville for lack of performance and kicking people. He, if anything, is looking for a building block to get to his next big job. He's going to go to Nebraska. He's going to prove that he can rebuild the program. He'll spend 4 or 5 years here, and then he'll be gone with his next big offer, whether it be the NFL.
He's going to leave it in a better spot,
another big university. He's not staying here. He does not give a crap about Nebraska. So I wouldn't want someone that wants to come here, stay here, give a crap about the state and the program, and isn't going to ditch us for the more money, which I think Urban would in a second.
Scott's your guy that stayed here. He's a Nebraska boy, and he left the program in a way worse spot than what he inherited. Urban might only stay for a couple of years. He's going to leave with winning games and probably the program in a better spot.
I think Urban Meyer is a fine option. I don't think morality of a coach matters. Tom Osborne, obviously a moral lighthouse in Nebraska for years, continues to be actually. But I think that every coach in the SEC is probably less moral than you think. And there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that you don't hear about, and they would really cast a different light on a lot of coaches' legacies. And I think Urban Meyer just had the cover pulled back a little bit when he was in Jacksonville. And that's why we have this bad opinion of Urban Meyer now. Has he handled some things really poorly? Yes. But winning is all that matters in college football. I'm not saying that's all that matters to me. I would love for a coach to be a moral lighthouse, but I don't think it's what's ultimately going to matter for Nebraska. I don't think they're going to go with Urban Meyer because I don't think he's interested in the job. But here's the question. If Urban Meyer gets the job, not successful, does that mean any coach can never be successful at Nebraska again? Is that the final blow? Will, you're shaking your head.
No, it's not. I mean, college football, it's like the stock market. It's cyclical. Every team, every program goes through their highs. Every program goes through their lows. We're going through it right now, and who your head coach is matters a lot. In a college football with a bunch of young kids, when you have a good, stable head coach, they're going to perform better. When you don't have a good, stable head coach, you're not going to perform better. And Nebraska had years and years and years of good head coach, good athletes. We had it good for a long time, and we're seeing other programs going through it right now too. And Texas, they went through it for years. Tennessee, Florida State, USC. But what are we seeing now this year? We're seeing USC coming back up again, Texas coming back up again, Florida State off to a good start. Obviously, we're not off to the good start that they are. They're on a better trajectory than we are. But Tennessee, even they're better than they were a few years ago. But I think at the end of the day, when you're a big program, you have deep pockets, good tradition, great fan base. You're going to have your low time, but eventually you're going to get people to come in. It may take a little longer. It may be 10 years down the road. I don't know. I'm not saying we're going to be good next year, but it's certainly not the end of the program. This state cares too much about football to let that happen. Eventually, over time, we're going to get it figured out.
If we're being honest with ourselves, I think Florida State, USC, all these places, they have great recruiting right in their backyard. And it's easy to convince kids to come there if it's not far from home. Like they convinced Caleb Williams to come to USC after they got Lincoln Riley, which Nebraska is not going to draw a Lincoln Riley level coach. And they got Caleb Williams because of it, and a bunch of other kids who are from California. They got Jordan Addison. We're not going to get a receiver that level. I think USC kind of got lucky because they got Riley. Nebraska, like I said, isn't going to draw that type of coach. Florida State also has tons of great recruiting right in their backyard. It's way harder to convince kids to come all the way out to Nebraska than it is to come to Tallahassee. Or is that where Florida State is? I know it's northern Florida.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But I just think recruiting-wise, those teams definitely have a leg up, and it's harder to convince people to come to Nebraska. We got to slowly build the program. Unless we get Urban, then we're just going straight to winning.
Yeah, Caleb Williams it convinced him to come to USC. Right in his backyard. Everyone knows that Washington D.C. to California is just a real short drive.
I thought he was from like Arizona or something.
No, he's from D.C. Spencer Rattler's from Arizona.
Well, it's because they had
he's in South Carolina.
Yeah, so I think the recruiting thing is overblown. What's in Alabama? What's in Clemson, South Carolina?
But those are still good recruiting bases.
They're
closer to bigger recruiting bases.
What's in Columbus? What's in Columbus, Ohio? What's in Ann Arbor, Michigan?
Well, also
Iowa Fields a 9-10 win team every year.
Not a proven winner anymore.
Iowa is a 9-10 win team every year. If they can do it, Nebraska can do it. They're basically working with the same pool of recruits.
That's the one outlier. It's like I would say
Kansas State,
Minnesota,
maybe Wisconsin,
Oklahoma. What's in Norman, Oklahoma?
What's in Utah?
Norman, Oklahoma. They're so good. They're so good
Kansas?
Recruits. They're close to Texas. They got some great recruits in Texas
Wisconsin,
and Oklahoma. Wisconsin's got some good old linemen. They got Braylon Allen out in Wisconsin.
I think that the recruiting difficulties in Nebraska are overblown. If you win, they will come. To steal the quote from the Field of Dreams. We'll wrap up this discussion. I want one name from everyone of your do not hire. You do not want, if it could be anyone else. You just can't get this one guy. So I need one name from each of you. I'll start it off just to show you how serious you need to be here. It can't be Mike McCarthy. I would die if it was Mike McCarthy. He's going to get canned by the Cowboys pretty soon here, so he's going to be on the market. If it is Mike McCarthy, I might turn in all of my Nebraska gear.
Yeah, he might put the Arby's out of business there. He's going to buy him out of beef.
There's one right there on campus.
Exactly. For me, it's Bill O'Brien.
You got rationale.
He's kind of made Alabama offense a little bit of a mess. If you're making the former Heisman winner and that Alabama offense a little bit of a mess, when What are you going to do here in Nebraska then? Can't get much more of a mess here.
Well,
I don't want to have to give a double take, but I got to go Bill O'Brien too. I mean, obviously, I'm going to piggyback what Cherry said there. That Alabama defense with a Heisman winner didn't look good. That run game didn't look good. He obviously made that offense work worse. Not to mention his stint in the NFL. He had a great time at Penn State. That's fine. But he had a little bit of time in New England with Tom Brady. He got ran out of New England quick. He went to Houston. Obviously, we all know what he did in Houston. Clearly, I just don't think he's a fine coach. He's a decent assistant. Is he someone that's going to, revive a whole college football program back to 8 to 9 wins? No, I don't think so.
Ryan, down to you.
Well, it's a tough one. I guess I really don't want to see Urban Meyer. I don't know. I just don't want to see him wearing the Husker red on the sideline. Just bad morale from that guy. Just bad aroma.
I thought you were going to go with the old Tom Herman. I was expecting that.
I was actually because Cherry and Will did the same one. I was actually going to throw in a bonus Tom Herman. I don't want to see Tom Herman. I hate Tom Herman. I'm the
after
club.
No, he ruined Sam Ehlinger. But after his 4 years at Texas, I was excited when he first came. He just didn't turn the program around. He won 4 games or 5 games his last year, and enough is enough. Goodbye. Yeah, no. I'm with you there. I don't want to see Tom Herman.
All right, I will. I appreciate the love. Tom Herman, basically the Texas Scott Frost. So I'm glad we're on the same wavelength there, Ryan.
Yes, sir.
I'll throw the horns up in camaraderie there. We'll go ahead and move on. We'll go ahead and move on to the Prime 9 this week. Get it up there on the screen. Checking out our top 9 games to watch this week, and we're going to pick all 9 here, starting from bottom to top. So Cherry, Ryan, Will, and we'll round it out with me. First up, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Green Bay Packers, a rematch of the NFC Championship game from 2 years ago. Cherry, who you got?
Bucks in a blowout. Blowout. That's all I got on this game.
Oh, good. All right. Well, I'll jump in. I'll have to say the Buccaneers, I think, are going to take a good beating to the Packers. I do want to also give a shout out to Leonard Fournette on his Twitter account saying, sorry, fantasy managers, touchdowns coming soon. So I'll hold him to that.
You got a bet on him?
No. Well, yes. Actually, I do have a Fournette touchdown bet on my segment here coming up. So stay by.
Well,
all right. This game is making me nervous. Tom Brady has obviously owned Aaron Rodgers in the past, both in New England and in Tampa. Kind of has his number, but with the at-home issues going on, Tom he came out and said he's been working weekends for the last however many years, and he took a few personal days this week. Makes me a little nervous, but you know what? Tom Brady's Tom Brady. And the Packers offense, didn't look good against Minnesota. They pretty much played a D3 football team last week. Justin Fields only throwing like 3 passes. I don't think that's proving anything.
11.
Especially when you're at home. That didn't show me anything about the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. That Bucs defense is legit. I think no one's talking about it. They had some pieces leave from that team, but they're legit. I think Tom Brady's just he's not playing great football right now. He's not the Tom Brady we usually know. He's looked a little shaky in the first few games, but the guy still knows how to get a win. And I don't know if Aaron Rodgers will be sober enough for this game to get it done. So I'm going to go with the Bucs in a blowout.
I really loved the apologetics talking about why, the entire time. Yeah, I know that they've been really bad, but they're actually really good. So I know he's been missing time, but he's actually really good, so it doesn't matter that he's been missing time. Give me the Packers. All right. They always lay an egg in week 1. We can take that game out of it. I'm doing apologetics now. You can take that one out of it, and you only can look at it last week against the Bears. Absolutely crushed them like normal. Aaron Rodgers is going to finally have a good game in Florida. He can't win in Florida for whatever reason. It's going to be the first time that he plays a good game. Packers get a big win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and look like Super Bowl contenders because they are Super Bowl contenders. That's my big swing for Sunday. We'll move on.
You got Packers on one side and you got Tom Brady on the other side. These officials are not going to know who to call penalties on. This is just going to be an official off.
Fortunately, Tom Brady is on when the Packers defense is on, and so I think they'll go Tom Brady when it's the Bucs offense, Packers when it's the Packers offense.
Probably. So I'll have an excuse next week. I can just blame the officials right now.
No, if Colin Cowherd has anything to say about it, it's all Bucs getting every penalty.
Next up, we have the Chargers versus the 1-1 AFC South leading Jacksonville Jaguars, as predicted by me, Ethan Petrick, on the Safe Saturdays podcast 2 weeks ago. Go ahead, give me your picks. Let's hear it.
Well, Herbert's questionable. Took a big hit last week. I think he fractured his ribs. But I like the Chargers here. I think the Jags are a lot better, but not quite at the Chargers level.
Yeah, I have to agree with Cherry. I like Chargers move the ball on offense pretty well, but then again, Herbert is questionable. But from the head coach, he's a tough guy. He's, I guess, the strongest quarterback in the league. So, and Chargers have a pretty solid defense, and I think they'll get this one at home.
If Herbert's not playing, it makes you nervous to pick the Chargers. But even if Herbert is playing with those bruised ribs, broken ribs, that dime he threw in the fourth quarter in Kansas City proves that it doesn't matter what part of his body's broken, he's still gonna ball out. Trevor Lawrence playing pretty good. James Robinson, Christian Kirk, the Jags are looking like they're on the uphill trend. They're not the Nebraska of the NFL anymore because they're actually looking good. But in LA, I think the Chargers are just too talented.
Yeah, like you said, in LA, like the Chargers have some sort of home field advantage suddenly. That's new. That's completely new. One of the worst home field advantages probably in pro sports for the Chargers there. This is a tough one, picking between like my two favorite stepchildren here. Packers, my son. These are my stepchildren. I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I got to go with the hot hand here. I've been loving them all season. Chargers, they were my pick for Coach of the Year, MVP. They're going to win the AFC West. That's okay. They're still going to win the AFC West. Jaguars need this win a little bit more, so I'm going to go Jags. I got James Robinson, Christian Kirk on the fantasy squad, so I need a big game from the Jags. So we'll go ahead and take Jags. Cowboys, Giants, Monday Night Football up next. Cherry?
I'm going to go Giants here. I think the Cowboys win last week was a little bit of a fluke. Something's wrong with the Bengals. I don't know what. Just doesn't look right. But Giants are rolling right now. Their offensive lines looked a lot better. Andrew Thomas has been good at left tackle, and Saquon's been running the ball great. He's leading the league in rushing yards right now. And I think that's just a winning formula, having a good offensive line and Saquon back there to pound the rock, kill some clock. And I'm going Giants.
Well, Cherry, who else is rolling? Cooper Rush.
Cowboys, kind of.
Cooper Rush, the Cowboys' backup quarterback. They got that dub against Cincinnati last week. And I think this team is pretty special with Dak off the field. I do have to say that their defense is pretty stellar as well. They got Van Der Esch, Marcus Lawrence.
Micah Parsons.
Mike Parsons, thank you. He's
Trayvon Diggs.
Pick of the year. Yes, you got it. Thank you. So they got a lot of talent in their defense, and I think they're going to definitely be able to stop Saquon this Monday night. So my pick's the Cowboys.
I want to go with Cherry, but then I remember Daniel Jones is the starting quarterback for the Giants, and I immediately would rather have Cooper Rush on any team. I'm going the boys all the way. I mean, I don't care where this game's at. It's Monday night primetime. Daniel Jones I'm predicting 2 fumbles, over on the fumbles, probably an interception. Cooper Rush almost has in one game more passing yards than Daniel Jones. Cooper Rush is not a joke. And this Cowboys defense, they're going to bring the pressure, like Ryan said. And Daniel Jones simply cannot play under the pressure. Those first 2 weeks, they were flukes for the Giants. I don't believe in them boys up in New York. I'm going Dallas all day.
It's going to be a perfect even split from the Safe Saturdays crew. Ethan going New York Giants because I believe in Saquon Barkley. This might be the only time where the Giants have a quarterback advantage, and I think it's a little underrated what the Giants defense has been doing this season. So give me the G-men. Next up, Raiders, Titans, another AFC West, AFC South battle. We're double dipping in the cross-division matchups out of the AFC. Cherry, who you got?
Both these teams, I really have not been impressed at all to start the year. Raiders totally collapsing against the Cardinals. But Titans had a tough matchup this last week with the Bills, so I'm going to roll with Derrick Henry. I'm going with the Titans in a close matchup of two teams. Like I said, both have not been good to start the year, so it's kind of a toss-up for me. I'll just go with Titans just because they got Derrick Henry.
All right. Well, this one's a little bit easier for me. I'm going to go with the Vegas Raiders. I like where Derek Carr has been starting this season. They've struggled for sure, but teams are going to struggle, and they're going to look at that as past is the past. They're going to look at this vulnerable Titans defense, and they're going to go out scoring. They're going to jump ahead. They're going to win the game. I got Raiders.
We might achieve the split here again. I'm going with Ethan down on the bottom of the screen. I'm going Titans. This is just a tale of two teams. You look at the Vegas Raiders. This is a new squad, a lot of new pieces, new head coach. I'm all in on the Raiders, but it might be too soon. They just haven't gelled yet. It may be late in the season. I can see them doing better, but this is the Titans team. Still a lot of the same pieces. Taylor Lewan out this week, I imagine. Derrick Henry virtually didn't show up.
Angry.
He didn't show up for last week's game. It was on the road in Buffalo. That's a tough game whether the Bills are good or not. And then you throw in the fact that they're the best team in the league with the future MVP on the other side of the football. That's just a tough game. The Titans lost an absolute crap show to the Giants. That game's whatever. That didn't tell me anything about him. I think Derrick Henry goes for 200 plus. He's going to be pissed and he's going to go off. That's my big bet of the week. Derrick Henry, he's going all the way. I'm going Titans by 2 touchdowns.
They can't stop the run, the Raiders.
And that as well.
You want to? I would like to take the Raiders to cover that mythical spread you just put out there. Well, you want to put a bomb on that?
No.
He's not that confident. And that's why I'm hammering the Raiders in this one. Okay, they got my former dog, Devontae Adams. Okay, he's all right. He went to the AFC, so we're still cool. No hard feelings. He didn't want to be there anymore. He goes, plays with his college bud. No problem. Give me the Raiders. Titans, there's problems there. Ryan Tannehill looked like Ryan Suckahill. All right? Give me the Raiders. Next up, first college football matchup of the week, Clemson versus Wake Forest. Wake Forest gets Sam Hartman back a couple weeks ago, and they've been looking pretty solid since. Everyone hates DJ Uyunglele. So, who do we have in this matchup?
Did Sam Hartman play last week for Wake Forest?
I believe so. Okay.
I thought so. So I think Wake Forest last week barely beat Liberty 36-37. Let's see, did Sam Hartman play? Yeah, Sam Hartman 26 for 44, 325 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So we played okay. I'm a big Sam Hartman believer, but you got to go with the Tigers here. I think people are hating on them. Their defense is 16-0 worthy. Their offense is maybe 7 or 8 wins worthy. Their offense is not good, but that is a great defense. And I think people are just too enamored with weapons and offense where they just forget about good defense. I'm rolling with Clemson here. Good defense. Maybe take the under in this game. And I think also people are hating on DJ Uiagalelei a little bit too much. So you're up, Brian.
All right, nice take. I'm going to agree with Cherry on this one. I got Clemson rolling over Wake Forest.
Hold it right there, gentlemen. Are we going to count out my Demon Deacons like that? If we're looking at this game, Sam Hartman is the best quarterback on the field, no doubt about it. Clemson, via ESPN, matchup predictor, 78.9% chance to win. That's ridiculous. I mean,
Defense.
this Clemson offense is horrible, and I don't care how good the defense is. They're on the road in a very dangerous, Wake Forest Stadium, whatever the frick that is. Truist.
Yes, exactly.
This is a solid Wake Forest team who, they may have played close to a Liberty last week.
Liberty put up 36 on them. How much Clemson's got better offense than Liberty does?
They're 2-1, and they were one of the better teams last year of the Group of 5 conferences. I mean, this is a solid Wake Forest team. If you look at the landscape of college football, last week everyone was struggling. Every single team struggled, all the big players. So for Wake Forest to escape a very, very competitive, good Liberty team, and there's no problem with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And this is college football. It's a game of quarterbacks. Yeah, Clemson has the better defense, but the better quarterback is going to win. Sam Hartman is the better quarterback.
If this is a game of quarterbacks, then why is Iowa 2-1?
They suck. It's Iowa.
I mean,
we're not talking about Iowa.
Exactly.
We're talking about Iowa.
Unproven.
Hey, mute Ethan down there. We're talking Wake Forest, Clemson. Wake Forest is getting the dub this weekend at home.
I'll take the spread, Bob Toast.
I'll Bob bet you on that.
Clemson by 6.
I'll Bob bet you on that.
Oh, he froze. Actually, you all froze. So that's
okay. Yeah,
Yep.
well, now we do it. I'll take the spread too. Clemson by 6.
I just want to know. I want outright winner.
I'll do outright too. Fine.
Fine.
So what's the Bob bet? I froze.
Just outright winner. I have Wake Forest. Ethan has Clemson.
All right, we got that. That'll be the first Bob bet of the ones we've made. That'll be awarded in season here because all the other ones are NFL season long Bob bets. I feel like it comes to me to decide if this is going to be a 50-50 split. I did a little research while you guys were going at it, and I was looking at Clemson. They've struggled to establish the run game. Will Shipley, former 5-star running back, not even at 100 yards per game. But you want to know who struggled to establish the run game even more against the likes of VMI, Liberty, and Vanderbilt? Wake Forest, not a single running back over 200 yards on the season. All right, this offense is predicated on the pass, and they haven't really been tested yet. I think this is a faux top 25 team. Get the Damon Deacons out of there. They don't deserve that ranking. This is going to be a smackdown by the road team in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, since Will doesn't know where it is. Give me the Tigers in a blowout. This is going to be a runaway.
You dropped the B word.
I thought for a second, Wake Forest was America's 51st state. I'm glad you corrected me there.
Next up, after that fiery take from and discussion on a game that none of us actually care about, give me K-State and OU, your picks.
I'm going OU. OU rolled last week against Nebraska. Kansas State, I think, lost to Mizzou, right? I mean, they can't throw the ball at all.
K-State hammered Mizzou. They lost to Tulane.
Oh, wait, they beat Mizzou. Okay. They lost to Tulane?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I think Kansas State's a little bit of frauds. They're too afraid to throw the ball, even with Adrian as their quarterback. You got to air it out a little bit. You're not the Chicago Bears. So going Oklahoma here.
Hey, let's not forget also that Tulane team coached by the prestigious Coach Petrick. Let's not just act like that was just a nobody.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
The legendary, yes, for sure. So first of all, Kansas State, Deuce Vaughn, running back. Right? Is that his name? Okay. So he's got, the tailback. I think he'll probably have a good game. But I don't think Adrian Martinez is going to be able to throw very good. I just don't think he's going to find the open man. Oklahoma's defense is going to shut him down. Oklahoma looked really good so far in the season. I think Oklahoma is going to get an easy dub.
Hold the phone again, my boys. I picked Oklahoma earlier, but I don't know what I was thinking. I look at the numbers again. Kansas State are the Sooner killers. They've been doing this for years. And Deuce Vaughn, this might be a hot take, is the best running back in the Big 12.
Oh my God! Have you ever heard of Bijan Robinson? Ever? Ever?
Mr. Mustard down in Texas. He's a very talented guy. Very talented
guy. That's an awful take. Wow.
Deuce
Put this guy
Vaughn
backstage.
he's the most consistently good running back in the Big 12. You know, I think he's the best running back in the country. If I'm picking a team to win a national championship right now, I'm putting Deuce Vaughn on that team, and he's rushing for 200, and that's exactly what he's going to do in Norman, Oklahoma this weekend. This Oklahoma team, you know, they're 3-0. They look great. Let's be honest. They played our Huskers. That wasn't a challenge. They haven't seen a challenge all season. I wasn't convinced. For the first quarter, Nebraska looked like a good football team. And any team that makes Nebraska look like a good football team for half a second is not a team that I'm betting on. I'm going Kansas State in Norman, Oklahoma. I'll put a Bob Toast on it. Sure, let's do it. Kansas State, bet on it.
I'll put 5 Bob Toasts on it.
Let's do it.
5 Bob Toasts.
You know what, Will? I'll throw in a box combo.
All right.
I mean, that's just a free box combo for Ryan. Congratulations.
I haven't had Canes in a while, so you guys can come down to Lincoln, take me out for a treat.
Oklahoma is a good team. Kansas State's a very flawed team. They can't throw the ball at all, and they refuse to throw the ball. Oklahoma's just going to expose that and win this game easily.
Hey, let's remember what happened last time Adrian Martinez walked into Norman, Oklahoma.
He threw a late game pick.
It was a very, very close game.
You can't trust.
It was a very competitive game up until the end. If Adrian Martinez just had the talent and the coaching of K-State last year, he walks out of Norman with a dub. But unfortunately, he had a horrible Nebraska.
He's going to have those turnovers still.
All right, boys, we got to move on. So I'm going to make my pick. It's going to be nice and quick. K-State is the OU killers, but it's going to be the Sooners this week. K-State does not have the talent. I missed the point where Cade Warner suddenly became a talented wide receiver. He transferring to K-State suddenly makes him good. Deuce Vaughn is suddenly capable of carrying an entire team on his back. I don't think so. This is a much improved OU team under Brett Venables. Their defense is fantastic. So give me the Sooners in this one. I think, Will, you're definitely reaching for the upsets that I was nailing last week. So I respect it, but no one can pick them quite like I can.
I'm ready for the clip moment that's coming next week at this very time.
We'll move on to OSU Wisconsin. Jerry.
Ohio State. This is going to be an easy win for them. Wisconsin, another team, can't really throw the ball. Graham Mertz stinks. Ohio State's got an improved defense, I think. They didn't look great against Toledo. They gave up some big plays, but I'm taking Ohio State in a blowout.
Yeah, that's simple. I got Ohio State as well.
What are we doing, boys? What are we doing? I feel like I'm the bad guy at this point. Wisconsin is running away with this ball game. I don't care where this game's at. When Braylon Allen's on the other side of the ball, he's running for 200 this week. Ohio State at home, week 1, struggled with a 1-2, right? Notre Dame team who almost is 0-3. They don't have a defense. Who's Notre Dame's quarterback? He sucks. He was getting yelled at last week from the OC in the press box. Graham Mertz better than that guy. Braylon Allen, he's a top 3 running back in the country. Wisconsin, they lost one game to Washington State, I might add. They're not any slouch.
I mean, what are we talking about here? Ohio State struggled with Notre Dame, beat them by like 10 points, but Wisconsin loses to Washington State and gets a free
Notre Dame game. Did you watch that game? It was horrible. Notre Dame was winning for most of it. I mean, Ohio State was getting beat through 3 quarters of football, and this
Ohio State is almost an even better running back with Travion Henderson.
We see this every single year from Wisconsin. They always drop a few. They do it all the time. But the second they play Ohio State, the second they play Iowa and all the good teams in the Big Ten, they're right back after it. Braylon Allen's running for 250. We all know that's happening. This Ohio State team, I mean, they're fine. They're good.
They're top 3 team.
No, they're good.
Top 3 team in the country.
Give me Scotty. I want Scotty all.
Go ahead and have him.
Yep. It's going to be the Buckeyes. So we'll go ahead and move on to Tennessee, Florida. Who do you got? Vols, Gators.
This is going to be my upset pick of the week. I mean, I was big on the Gators week 1 after that win against Utah. It's in Tennessee, tough stadium. I'm going with the Gators. I don't know why. It's a stupid pick, but I'm a stupid guy. Give me the Gators.
Well, you are a Bears fan, so I mean,
exactly.
So, yeah, I like Tennessee in this one too. I think they're a big improvement team, so I think they're going to get a win this weekend.
I tell you what, guys, it's finally great that I can agree with at least one of you. I'm going Tennessee. Me and Ryan all the way. I mean, this Richardson dude, everyone was talking about 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Almost lost to South Florida last
He
week.
could run.
On the road, this team's not legit. Tennessee, it's going to be a pretty easy game.
I haven't heard that intelligent of a take coming right before me in a while from Will. I appreciate that. Fade Anthony Richardson for the Heisman. Everyone was loving on him after the Utah win. He stinks. Get him out of there. He's not even going to be in New York. Give
I'm
me
guilty of that.
the Volunteers. I don't think it's going to be a 10.5-point game. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than that. But give me the Vols. Easy pick.
Blowout.
And then we'll wrap it up with the marquee matchup of college football this weekend. The March Madness game in September. Duke, Kansas. Should have been game day. It's not. If we could go on the road, we'd be in Lawrence this weekend. Cherry, Duke, Kansas, who you got?
This is the Clash of the Titans this week. I'm going with Kansas. I think Duke's a little bit of a fraud, so I'm going Kansas. And I don't know a lot about these teams, so I'm going Kansas.
Cherry's got Kansas 3 times. Let's say I got to go with Kansas as well. They've been they're the top team in the Big 12 right now. They're undefeated. Biggest surprise for sure. But they're very improved under their new young, I guess not young, but their newish coach Lance Leopold. But yeah, that Kansas offense is just tearing it up. They demolished Houston last weekend, 48-30. I think they're just going to keep it going, and they're going to roll over Duke this weekend.
Finally, we're all in agreement. I mean, this Kansas team, Jalen Daniels, I mean, he's taken college football by storm, first in the country in QBR, and not to mention, they're going on the road. They're playing at West Virginia, at Houston. These are not slouch football teams. Those are solid, good football teams on the road, and they're kind of handling them pretty easily. Now they're coming back home to Lawrence, Kansas. That's going to be freaking hype. That stadium's going to be bumping. And this Duke team has struggled. They haven't looked. They're 3-0, but they're not looking like a solid team in the ACC. But this Big 12 team, I mean, they're looking solid. I'm going Kansas as well.
It's always a bad sign when your team goes with a new quarterback after losing their opening game to Duke. Like, that's how bad they are. That's what Temple did after losing 30-0 to Duke in the first game of the season. Then Duke beats a Northwestern team that actually is just as fraudulent as Anthony Richardson is. Northwestern loses to Southern Illinois, and then they go out and they play NCAA. Duke, this is about as worse as a 3-0 team as you can find in the country. Give me the Jayhawks, who have gone out and gotten some quality wins already on the season. Jayhawks by 1 million. All right? They're going to be top 25 next week. That's who I've got. And we're going to roll right into Saturday's Heroes as we're looking to wrap up the show here. We'll also have Quantum Cherries and Big Bets. Ben's Bets of the Week. Moving on to our first Saturday hero. It's none other than Jalen Daniels. I can't remember who nominated this one, so go ahead and talk about your hero.
Yeah, so this is my hero. I think this guy is just a baller. I mean, let's look at his stats against Houston last weekend. He 14 for 23 pass attempts, 158 yards, average 7 a pass, QB rating of 98.5. I mean, out of those, and then look at Kansas rushing. So they rushed 43 times for 280 yards. That's the killer right there. When you get a good football team that can rush the ball like that, it's going to be really hard to stop them. And I think Jalen Daniels he's the leader of this team. He knows the game, and I think he's going to be a dangerous player going in the future. So I really like to see this guy play.
He's leading the team in rushing yards too. He basically is the team. Great pick, Ryan.
Ryan picks Kansas's offense. That was his Saturday hero right there.
State of Kansas.
3 though.
Next up, Sean Clifford.
Yep, I'm going Sean Clifford. People slander this man. I heard last week, I listened earlier today, Petrick was saying he's not that great. You know what? He was injured all of last season. I think people need to put a little bit more respect on his name. He runs that offense well. I think he's got a Tinsley, the transfer receiver from wherever, I forgot where, but he's got Tinsley. He's getting him the ball, and he's got great running game, I know. But I think Clifford he's just a little bit underrated. I need to give him a little bit of shine after going down to the SEC in Alabama at Auburn and just whooping that team, making it look easy, I think. Not the best stat line, but I believe in Sean Clifford.
What's it that Colin Cowherd always says? Teams will tell you what they are. Well, Penn State's telling you what Sean Clifford is. They only let him pass the ball 19 times. They don't trust him to win in a big spot.
Justin Fields is an MVP level quarterback, but the Bears only let him pass 11 times. I think it's just the way it is sometimes. I think they just know they have a great running game with that. Who's that freshman? He's the number one running back in the nation, Singleton. He's really, really good. And they were up the whole game. They had no reason to throw the ball.
Yeah, well, I think I'm not going to tell you your Saturday hero is wrong because it's who made your Saturday better. So we'll go ahead and move on. We appreciate the passionate Sean Clifford defense there. My Saturday's hero is Michael Penix Jr., quarterback for Washington, former Indiana quarterback. He's now with the Huskies, goes 24 for 43 and 97 passing yards and 4 total touchdowns to beat Michigan State. Why? I like to see the Huskies lose all the time, but even more than that, I like to see Big Ten East teams lose. So I'm going to take him for causing the upset and leading the Huskies to a 3-0 start and just taking down Mel Tucker, who for whatever reason I'm just not a big fan of. I don't know. I just don't like him. It's Colorado. He was at Colorado. They beat Nebraska. It's sour taste in my mouth with Mel Tucker around. So give me Michael Penix Jr. For my Saturday hero. And for Will Reason, final member, we have Albert Pujols.
I'm leaving.
What is that?
I knew Ethan wasn't going to like this one, but hey, I'm glad I can take it. We got to get a little MLB shine in this week. It's a big moment. You know, Aaron Judge doing his thing. Who cares? Who cares, right? Albert Pujols, he's the center of attention. Man's approaching. I don't know. Did he hit 700 yet, or he's like one away?
You don't even know because nobody cares.
All-time legend Albert Pujols reaching a big number past A-Rod, a Yankee. I love that even more. And then also sticking with the Cardinals, Adam Wainwright, Yadier Molina breaking the record for starts together or pit whatever they broke.
Playoffs?
And the Cardinals are breaking records right now. They're an old squad, but if you're a baseball fan, unless you're a Cubs fan, you love it. You love to see it. This is good baseball we're watching. But 3 legends on one historic team, breaking records, doing whatever. You just love to see it.
All right, so now we'll get to Will's actual one. He just wanted to give Pujols some love today. Moving on. Okay, he had 373 yards. I don't know why it says 33 yards.
All right, yeah. So Jalen Hurts, 33 yards. He was incredible. No, I mean, look at Jalen Hurts. I've been on this guy since he was in Alabama. He went to Oklahoma. I wanted him in New England so bad, but Bill Belichick hates me. He doesn't listen to me. I email him every day, but he just refuses to read it, apparently. I mean, we're looking at this dude. Minnesota Vikings they're a Super Bowl favorite. Everyone loved them to win the North. And what did he do? He absolutely donkeyed them this last Monday. 333 yards passing, 83% completion percentage, passing touchdown. Yeah, there was an interception in there, but, it happens. 57 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. I mean, Jalen Hurts, he showed you what he can do. And this is an NFL football team that they're looking like the best team in the NFC. Jalen Hurts, he looked like a top 5 quarterback on Sunday. He did. You can't argue with that. He just did. He looked solid. He looked like he looked comfortable in the pocket. He could run. He can throw the deep ball. We saw it multiple times. Jalen Hurts, he made my Monday special.
That'll do it for Saturday's Heroes, and we'll move on into our penultimate segment of the show, everyone's favorite, Quantum Cherries.
All right. Going back to a little bit more of NHL talk, just like last time that I did this, it was a couple weeks ago. We got Nathan McKinnon signing the biggest contract in NHL history, making him the highest paid player in the league, talking $12.6 million average annual value for the next 8 years. Huge contract, beating out McDavid by $100,000 a year. I think if he doesn't have this playoff run, he doesn't get this contract. But because he won that cup, he proved he can do it. Well deserved. No one else deserves this contract in the league other than maybe Cale Makar or McDavid himself. But he got the cup and he got the big contract right after. Very proud of him. I think it's well deserved. And next up, we had some defensemen retiring. We got PK Subban retiring, along with Zdeno Chara and Keith Yandel. If I'm being honest, I think getting out of the square here, I think all three of these defensemen were a little bit overrated. Chara I think he won one Norris, but he only won one cup. And Subban, another guy, he won a Norris, but other than that one Norris season, it was well-deserved, but I don't think he was that great in Nashville. And in New Jersey, he was terrible. And then Yandel, he's always great offensively. He never won a cup, but definitely have time for Keith Yandel. He was a great offensive defenseman, but definitely gave up a lot on the defensive side too. Petrick, any thoughts on the McKinnon contract, Petrick?
Well, I was thinking I had a comment on McKinnon or Yandel. Didn't he have a all-time Ironman run?
Yeah, and he got healthy scratched to end it, I believe.
Well, you got to give props for just being available, even if you're not getting it done on the defensive end. PK Subban, I know you don't. You probably are one of his biggest detractors. I think he was pretty solid. And if anything, Hall of Fame worthy for being part of the Weber Subban trade.
Honestly, I was a huge PK Subban fan when he was in Montreal. His first couple of years when he won that Norris, I have a PK Subban jersey, and I loved PK Subban. And his 1 or 2 years in Nashville, he was really good, but he really kind of fell off quick. And he's only 33 years old, and I thought he would maybe sign on with the team and get a second chance here, but I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to end the career early and go into media or something like that.
Yeah, I have a feeling he's going to broadcasting. He was a part of the ESPN coverage of the playoffs a lot. So, Will, go ahead.
I think we should probably do a whole Quantum Cherries episode, like an hour long, of just going through Ethan's hockey jerseys. I think we could definitely fill the space. That'd be pretty interesting. I think about every player that's played. I think Ethan has their jersey.
It's true.
For a time, I was collecting them pretty hardcore.
And then back to the McKinnon contract, I think you're probably right. I think he needs the playoff run to get it done, to get that contract. And I don't think Makar could demand a contract like that right now. But McDavid, I think, definitely could.
Oh yeah.
Even though he's kind of lacking in terms of playoff success, we'll see what the Oilers can do if they can build off their Western Conference Finals appearance. But Chara, I don't think he was ever really overrated. I think everyone kind of knew what he was. He was just a tall dude with a heavy slap shot. I think the fact that he was a leader in Boston, a very successful franchise for so many years, speaks volumes about him as a player, maybe the intangibles. And I think he's somebody that Boston was already missing, and they're going to continue to miss now that he's not even in the league. So,
one hot take I have: I think Matthews is a free agent, I believe, in 1 or 2 years. I think Matthews might get the max contract in the NHL, where McKinnon kind of wanted to stay in Colorado, and he didn't have as much leverage. Where I think it's out there that Matthews kind of wants to leave Toronto, and he seems like a type of guy where he could command a ton of money. And if he wants the max contract, I think there's teams that will give him that max contract. He has the best shot in the league right now. He hasn't proved he's won in the playoffs, but I think teams are just going to bet on talent. And if we're talking pure talent, he's probably a top 3 player in the league.
I hope my Kings are willing to give him a max contract. I would love to see Austin Matthews in the black and silver, or maybe the Forum blue and gold if they want to bring it back again on a reverse retro. We are praying they bring it back in a reverse retro. But that'll do it for Quantum Cherries. It was great to have it back for the second time. We missed it last week. It was The show wasn't the same without it. You saw it when you watched today. There was something missing.
Yeah, definitely a hole in the show.
And we'll get into big bets of the week. And before we let him talk, we're going to go ahead and tell you how poorly he did last week.
No. Let's just jump right in, huh?
3-8 last week on his bets, betting on Texas covering, Virginia Tech beating the worst FCS program in the country, Wolford, and Kansas covering a 9-point spread. I'll give him kudos for the Kansas one. That one was fairly difficult to predict, especially against a really nice, strong Houston program led by Dan Holgerson. That 3-8 takes you to 8-20, and somehow you are now worse than you were last week. You were at 29.4% accurate. You're now 28.6% accurate on your bets.
Usually they say you can only go up from there. So I'm going to say that this week. I'm only going to go up from there. So I guess we'll have to. Are you just keeping track of football?
I'm keeping track of all of them.
Well, you missed my PGA bets that I got right.
You
I got
didn't get it right.
Homa top 10.
No. You got to get all. I'm treating it like a parlay. You got to get all three.
Oh.
You can't just name three dudes that are just going to get top. Like that's like. I'm not allowing that. They're a parlay.
There were 100. There's over 100 golfers in the field, and I can have three that I'm thinking are going to make the top 10.
We can squabble afterwards, but for now, they've been treated as a parlay. We might change it next week if you can give me a good reason to not treat that as a parlay, because I think I could go and pick three names that would hit top 40 and call it a good bet.
You're probably right. Okay.
You know what? I think that Thigala is going to be top 40 this weekend.
Joke's on you. There's not a tournament this week.
Well, whatever.
Okay. So let's jump in, shifting gears to NASCAR. So it's at Texas this week. I don't want to talk about last week at Kansas because that was I'm sorry, Bristol. My favorite track even. But there's a lot of playoff drivers had some trouble. There's a lot of car issues, mechanical issues, tire issues. It was a entertainment, that's for sure, to say the least. But Joey didn't finish. A few other playoff drivers didn't finish. It hurt him a lot. Blaney ended up finishing the race, but over 100 laps down. So with that said, we're at Texas this week. And it's the start of the round of 12. So we already had 4 drivers eliminated. Kevin Harvick, Austin Dillon, Austin Cindric, and Tyler Reddick. So those 4 guys are not in the race for the championship this year. So with that said, Texas, we got a lot of potential for drivers this weekend. Hamlin, a 3-time winner at Texas. He's had a rough go at it for the past couple of years, but he is the favorite to win this week, and he's also my favorite to win this weekend. Toyotas are running fast. Hamlin's running fast. I expect Hamlin to get in the round of 8 pretty quickly, so I think this is the track for him to do it. Look for the 11 to cross the finish line first. That's my bet. And then moving on to Ryan Blaney, Martin Truex. Blaney, a Ford, Truex, a Toyota. They're great mile-and-a-half track racers. I like them to finish top 5. I like them to have a strong race as well. Blaney needs it. Truex is out of the playoffs, but it doesn't matter. I think he's still going to run strong, and I think he's going to finish top 5. Busher won Bristol last week. Great for him. That's his second career win. He drives Ford. Go Fords, like that. And then Ross Chastain, number 1 driver. He's a Chevy guy, watermelon man. You know, when he crosses that finish line first, team rushes him a big watermelon, jumps on his car, throws it on the ground, eats it. Love it. Loving life. So Ross Chastain, top 10. Also with Joey Logano, top 10. He struggled on the elimination race at Bristol, but he's in. He's good on points. He's sitting at number 2 right now in the rankings. He needs a strong race to contend for the round of 8 coming up shortly. So I like Logano top 10 for sure. Moving on to PGA It's the President's Cup this weekend. So we got Team USA versus Team International. So that basically USA versus, the whole world, because we're just great. We're dominant. So I got a fan question. Bubba Wallace, going back to NASCAR. So Bubba Wallace did win at Kansas 2 weeks ago. That was a fluke win. He's not a great driver. No, he's fine. Michael Jordan actually owns his team. Him and Denny Hamlin are co-owners for 23XI. But yeah, Bubba's been running okay. He's got a fast car. He's not in the playoffs though. I don't know. He could probably get a top 20. I'd bet on that. Going back to the President's Cup, I like these foursomes coming up tomorrow. I'm sorry. Yes, tomorrow, Thursday. We got Colin Morikawa teamed up with Cameron Young versus Tom Kim and KH Lee. South Koreans, they're very good. They got a lot of energy, but the Americans aren't too worried about that. They're just going to play their game. Morikawa is the strongest iron player on the field. Cameron Young is the hottest putter on the field on the greens. So look for that duo to come out with that win. Scotty Scheffler, Sam Burns. Scheffler, master champion. Sam Burns, great driver off the tee. Versus Siwoo Kim, Cam Davis. I like Scheffler, Burns as well. I'm also, all these groups, I'm going with USA. And they're going to be dominant. They're going to win. It's kind of easy money there. So I like Scheffler and Burns. And to take it home, Tony Finau, Max Homa. Homa just won last weekend at the Fortinet Championship. He's coming off a win, so that's some momentum there. And then Pendrith and Pereira. Yes. So they'll tee off at 12:53 Central Time. So tune in, sit back, relax, watch some entertaining golf. It's going to be a good one. Now, moving on, some college football. We'll start with a Big 12 matchup between Iowa State versus Baylor. Iowa State is picked by 2.5 points. They're favorited. I like Iowa State in this one. They battled against Iowa not too long ago. And I think they'll come out with the win there. Matt Campbell. I don't know why I say Campbell like that, but he's a great coach. I think he'll take Iowa State to the win at Baylor, I believe. Kansas State, Oklahoma. Kansas State's proven to be a thorn in Oklahoma's side the past few years, but Oklahoma's just been too good this season. Got a new coach. They've just been dominant. I like Oklahoma with the spread, 12.5. And then North Carolina versus Notre Dame. I like the Tar Heels in this one. Notre Dame got their first win against Cal last weekend, which was a close game, very close game. But I think UNC under Mac Brown will be able to come out with a win on that one. And then Minnesota versus Michigan State. This is going to be a fun matchup. Big Ten matchup. Minnesota's favored by 3. It's at Michigan State. Minnesota's 3-0, but going to a Big Ten stadium at home at Michigan State is going to be very tough for them. So I think Michigan State's going to come out and win that as the underdogs. Now, moving on to the NFL. I'm going to do it a little different this time. Sort of. I'm going to throw in some over-unders, money lines, and anytime touchdown scores. So, starting with over-unders, Bills-Dolphins. That's at Miami. Hurricane season. Might be a lot of running, might be a lot of throwing. I don't know. We'll see. But I guess it's supposed to rain, so we'll see how Josh Allen does. But we know Tua is going to have a good game like he did last week probably. But the over-under is 52.5. I like the over. I think the two offenses are just going to do what do they call it? Just
scoring explosion, if you will.
Scoring explosion. There we go. They're just going to explode on the offensive side. I like Vikings-Lions over 53. Kirk Cousins coming off of an off game against the Eagles at the Eagles. So I think he's going to have a great game. And then probably Jared Goff with the Lions are going to put up some points as well. I like the over 53 there. 49ers Broncos under 45, over under 45. I think this might be a pretty good defensive game. 49ers Trey Lance is out. They got Garoppolo under center. And then Broncos been struggling a little bit on offense. Not too many points have been scored. I like the under 45 on that one. And then money lines. I like Steelers plus 130 against the Browns Thursday night. Baltimore Ravens minus 140. And then Cowboys against the Giants Monday Night Football. Cowboys minus 105. And I think Cooper Rush is just going to roll all over him. Forget Ezekiel Elliott. Forget Tony Pollard. Forget CD Lamb. It's going to be Cooper Rush show. So you enjoy that Cowboys win.
You want to hold on to that, forget Tony Pollard, because I think you might be talking about him coming up here.
I take that back. The Cooper Rush and Tony Pollard show. So going to my anytime scores, I like Jonathan Taylor to score a touchdown. He's favorite, minus 175. I think that'd be an easy payout. Tony Pollard running the ball pretty well with the Cowboys. Also a good receiver in the backfield. He's a plus 110. Pretty good odds there. Leonard Fournette, again, earlier in the show, I said he tweeted out to his fantasy manager saying, hey, don't worry. Touchdowns are coming soon. I'm going to hold him to it. Look for Fournette to score a couple against the Packers. Now, final player, Jalen Waddle had a heck of a game. Over 100 receiving yards, targeted a lot. He's a plus 135 to score a touchdown. That's incredible odds for me. I would throw some serious cash on that bet right there. And that will conclude Big Bence's Bets of the Week.
Cue the guitar riff to close us out. And that'll do it for the 39th episode of the Save Saturdays podcast. Thank you for joining, and be back next week to see how bad Ryan did on those bets that you just heard, and find out who's getting a free box combo and who's getting a free 5 Bob toast. So thank you for watching. We'll catch you guys next time.